Hiya, SWABS, Captain Jeff the Pirate here, and share disservice. Welcome to Captain Jeff Reviews and Questions Adventure Time. Today's episode, Daddy-Daughter Card Wars. This episode, I find it both interesting, a little confusing, and it'd be like they give us so much in just one episode. We learn so many new things, we get questions answered, and we also get a whole bunch of new questions. I'll try to cover it as much as I can, so please be bearing with me. Alright, this episode, I don't think we've seen too much of Card Wars in the Adventure Time universe since the actual episode. Now, in the real world, we've seen it on the iPads and the iPhones and an actual physical card game, so we ain't talking about that here. Anyway, there was an episode called Jake the Dad many seasons ago. In there, we were introduced to his 5 children, and as the series has gone on, they've been actually doing episodes where they are part of the main focus point or have several speaking lines. And finally, this will be the last episode. This will be the episode that covers the last child that hasn't gotten any dialogue or focus yet. Will we be getting more after this? I don't know, but hey, at least they finally got through the whole letter. This episode would be focusing with Jake the dog and with his daughter Charlie. Finn the human makes no appearance whatsoever in this episode. Alright, so let's cover over what this episode is about. Jake takes his daughter Charlie to like a competitive professional tourney of Card Wars, where he hopes to make her his entourage, his protege, not his entourage, wrong one, and pass on the Card Wars. He intimates that he's about in his 40s, and I'm like, wait a minute, both him and Finn are about the same age. Though I guess, dog years, and that would kind of explain the whole rainicorn dog child growing up so fast thing. Anyway, he wants to bury his 20s and move on to his 30s were like reflection, and his 40s he wants to, just go on with his life because he's like, 40s are older than I want to be. Now at the tournament we see his arch nemesis, a giant cat creature by the name of Grand Prix. We also see his old girlfriend, Monica. She be a horse, so hit a horse, and then it was his ex-girlfriend before meeting Lady Rainicorn. So Jake be having some kind of equine, his type be of the horse nature of sorts. Anyway, the tournament after the tournament goes on, he's doing pretty good, but by the end he's able to bury his 20s, deal with his past, and I guess the episode ends kind of on a good way. But all the stuff that happens in between the episode is what's interesting. For starters, I learned that Jake has a skeleton system. He actually has bones and whatnot. Which I guess was kind of obvious because of how he eats the sandwiches with his teeth, but I didn't really think about it. Like, the way he's able to morph and transform into all these shapes and whatnot, it never really came across to me that Jake would have like a skeleton in his body. Yeah, I mean, his organs were really stretched for like the trap maze when they had to save the hot dog nights, but I never really pictured him as having bones. I only know this because he actually trades one bone in his finger to his daughter for her to play around with him. Which kind of seems a little shady at first, but we'll cover that later. Now then, we get more about Jake's backstory in this episode. We see, like, in his 20s, he was like a Card Wars King Supreme, like, really good at his game. Back when he was dating Monica. Anyway, in the past, we see he loses a game to Grand Prix, and you've ever heard the term rage quit? Jake encompasses that perfectly. Not only does he quits playing professionally, because we've seen how competitive he is, especially in the Card Wars episode. When Bimo talked about it, how he took losing very sorely, and how competitive he was against Finn. But, oh man, he just goes ballistic when he loses. Which may explain a few things. So if I was to compare this to 2 other shows, I'd say his level of competitive spirit be like Stan from the episode when we learn he's an ice dancer, or used to be, and how he's trying to keep it in control, though not that successfully. The other aspect is Grand Prix, his rivalry, it seems like friendly to him. If I was to compare, Grand Prix doesn't seem to be boisterous or showboating or rubbing it in Jake's face. If anything, I'd compare it, I'd say like Jake is the Timmy Turner's dad and Grand Prix be Dinkelberg. Alright. We even see during the tournament how Jake is trying to control himself and trying to not be the uber-competitive, very angry young man he used to be. He's kind of slips up a little bit because he does a move that is like kind of frowned upon professionally, but while it does get him the win, it's like a cheap move, but still. He's able to find a way to get rid of his angry 20 self and make peace with his ex and his rival, Grand Prix, so I like that. It was a good balance out there. And now we cover Charlie, the final offspring and daughter of the Jake for this episode. She'd be interesting. Her main talent is that she seems to have the ability to use tarot cards. This is what inspires Jake to like maybe do the one last entry professionally for the Card Wars, because she has card handling skills. Anyway, she agrees only to participate one bone for one match. Like, they win the first match really easily in the beginning, to which Jake has to use his trick of creating a doppelganger daughter sitting across from him for the match. After she gets the bone, she leaves, and here's what. She has both Rainikarn and Jake's powers, and it's be amazing. Like, she's actually able to grow in size, but she starts to kind of get transparent the bigger she gets. I'm guessing it's like a light Rainikarn thing, whatever. Anyway, she's able to get so big, she can walk from this oil derrick, where the tournament is being held, all the way to her living space within like 7 or 8 steps. Like, we actually see a shot from space of the planet. And we see the crater in the planet. And where she be living? She'd be living in somewhere in Egypt. Either it was spared from the Mushroom War or took the least damage, because she lives inside a pyramid. Here's what she needed: one of Jake's bones, and she has some hair from her mother, and she's using it along with her tarot skills to try to figure out. She's trying to do a look in herself to see how she will be, to reveal her true self. So she casts the cards, and she sees her father, and she sees herself. She sees how he's choking on the sandwich. He's bitten off more than he can chew, and she kind of realizes how she kind of left her father in the lurch, kind of abandoned him when he needed her. So then as she's going through her age, she figures out her life, how she's gonna be losing people, how she will have people have doubt, she will then have confidence. It shows her progression. So she looks and sees what she will be like up to the age of 90. She then embraces herself, and now she has like some clairvoyance and foresight and some wisdom and inner peace. She then realizes, like I said, she messed with her dad and goes back to help him for the final round. So now, then Jake is able to bury his 20s. It was a little weird in some parts of this episode, but I liked it. I thought it was pretty good, and if I was to bet, I think maybe Jake may have buried his card deck in there. He may, I don't know, still play casually. But still, I think it was good. We got to see the final of Jake's children, and who knows if we'll see another episode. Aside from some weird confusion about like the age and Charlie's powers and what to see within, I thought this was a pretty good episode. Now, hopefully we'll see some more of that. And like I said, Jake's rivalry was like, I swear, before I thought of the ice skating Stan from American Dad, the first thing I thought of was like Dinkelberg. I thought it was hilarious, so I have to wonder what else Jake was doing while Finn was still growing up. And you have to wonder how the ages are going to work out for both the children and for Jake the dog. Well, yeah, I mean, Finn we know is going to age in normal human terms, but you never know how this show is going to work out or end or whatnot. So, for Daddy-Daughter Card Wars, I apologize for how long this review was, but I had to cover so much. I give it a 1.5 up. Yeah, it should be good. If you get a chance to watch it, I highly recommend you do. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode. Until next time, this be Captain Jeff reviewing and questioning Adventure Time. Saying thank you for watching, and as always, arrgh.